From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy. The vitamins. The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark. Pitt Week! It's Pitt Week!
It's Wake Up Warchant. It's live on a Wednesday evening. This is your Thursday podcast. That over there is Corey S. Clark. Well, yeah, pointing in the right direction. At his new podcast sanctuary, we're going to call it. We're going to get this thing set up to where Corey's audio is going to sound better than mine after 8 years. We're going to finally figure it out, everybody. I promise you. And Corey's afforded these opportunities because he works for Warchant.com, and Warchant.com partners up with people like Vitamin Energy, VitaminEnergy.com. They're hooking you folks up with their promo code WarchantBOGO. Buy one, get one free. And Corey, I like to, this time of the day, usually just shake it and then take it, if you don't mind.
Where are we going with?
Extra Strength Focus Plus Tropical Infusion. Get you some, everybody. VitaminEnergy.com. WarchantBOGO, your promo code. Buy one, get one free. 7 hours of energy, 260 milligrams, all natural caffeine, no sugar crash. Warchant.com, ultimate Seminole sports source. Come on down. $1 for a week, and then you get that free membership for a year to The Athletic. I don't know how the maths, but that's what they keep telling me. Corey Clark, that looks like a very comfortable sofa. How are you? You look very relaxed.
I'm good, buddy. Well, it's a little relaxing. We had another snafu with Coach Speak, which is just incredible what's going on with that show here the last 2 weeks. But other than that, I've been perfectly relaxed. Obviously, I don't have the setup I want for a live show quite yet. Don't have the furniture all set up and ready to go. We've just moved in. Still learning the lay of the land. But I feel like the next time we do a live show and I'm in this house, it's going to be sweet, sweet perfection.
Shout out to our guy Ralph out there in Hawaii wanting to get this undefeated season started. Let's go 1-0 this week, Corey. Just got to go 1-0.
Yep.
You did a story with some information on Mason Heinschel, the true freshman quarterback for the Pitt Panthers. You asked Mike Norvell about him. I think he even asked, I think maybe asked Tony on Sunday too. What have you been able to piece together, cobble together about what this kid's about? How dangerous he possibly could be and how serious Florida State should take him.
I mean, they all said all the right things, right? Like, he can move. He can escape the pocket a little bit. Look, he's probably not Chandler Morris. He's definitely not Tommy, but he's not Carson Beck either.
Brock Glenish, maybe.
I don't know if, maybe. I didn't get that impression that he was kind of that straight ahead fast, but when I watched him, but he can move. He can make people miss. And I mean, to have a game like he had, I know it was Boston College, who's horrible, but whatever he was, 31 out of 42 for 330 and 4 touchdowns and no interceptions, and his first ever start, showed no nerves at all, and didn't have his best playmaker on the field, and the Reed kid who might be back this week. It gives you a little bit of pause, but also he's a true freshman quarterback. He's making his first road start. The jump from Boston College to Florida State should be so significant that he will not look comfortable and confident and calm like he did on Saturday, at least not for large portions of the game. That's what you hope anyway. Yeah, I have no idea what to expect from this kid. But they all said the right things. That the thing they brought up more than anything, I felt like, was that he could move. I think Deontay McCray called him explosive, which I didn't see that. I mean, his longest run was 13 yards. But he did run for over 700 yards last year in high school. So he's obviously an athlete.
Okay. Our guy Jeff Mayers, also known in some circles as Colorado Nole. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I wanted to check in with Corey to see if he saw my brief explanation about his cement question.
Right.
Seemed like a good departure from all the doom and gloom posts. I did see it, Corey. I'll let you speak for it, but it didn't click in my head, but I've got a small, smooth brain.
We're starting our show with the cement question. I love it, Aslan. I love it.
Well, hey, man, you start off 0-2 in conference play. There are consequences, boys and girls.
That's right.
But basically something about hydration is the process. Water reacts with compounds in the cement. Calcium silicate hydrate and other hydrated compounds are created. The reactions between the water and the cement compounds and the bonding of the water molecules of the components in the concrete generate this hardening process.
Okay.
You know.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
And I should say that I was watching a comedian a few weeks ago, Rory Scovel, I think is his name, who was saying that, like how crazy it is that nobody other than Jeff really knows how cement works, but all buildings are made out of it. Like our whole lives are surrounded by cement, and nobody really knows how it works. And they get their own fancy truck. Like, oh, look at me. I get to be in a spinny do. I get to be a spinny do the whole time. And don't make me keep moving. I got to keep moving. But yeah, it's a modern miracle, folks. Yeah. Think about cement. Like who found that out? Who did all that work to find out that you could make cement harden like that?
All right. Well, Corey's in a good mood, so we need to change that. Got to get you a little riled up here. We'll also keep it over at warchant.com Tribal Council. We'll take your questions too, everybody. Promise. But in case you guys didn't see the interview with Mike Norvell today, go check it out on our YouTube channel. He's got a black eye. He's got black eye. His right eye's got a black eye. Cornolio, he's been around a long, long time. August 1st, 2022. I think even longer than that, honestly. But he says, pretty incredible that the head coach shows up to a press conference with a black eye and nobody asks him about it. Is the local media scared to ask? LOL.
So, well, no, there's no world in which I'm scared to ask about something like that. I honestly, and I had my glasses on, folks. I didn't see it until he turned to walk. And then I saw that you had texted about it. And I'm like, well, that's crap. I really wish I had it. But then I started thinking about it and I'm like, man, what do I like, hey, dude, what's up? What, you okay? I think it was a misstep and a mistake for the head coach not to come say, hey, this is what happened. Yeah. But I literally, and I'm not trying to defend myself. I don't care. I'm not afraid of Mike Norvell. Well, I don't even know what I would be afraid of. I did not notice that he had the black eye, because it's not, when you see it, it's not like a shiner. It's not like a white boxer when they get punched in the face and it's.
Whoa, why it's got to be about race?
Well, I'm just saying they're maybe more easily seen.
It's a joke.
But it wasn't like Rocky Balboa's black eye, but it had a little bit of a bruise.
Get photographic visual aid. I mean, maybe not the greatest, but
yes, you're like right there. Yeah, I don't know why that definitely looks worse than what I saw. I'm telling you, folks, that looks like, how did I miss that? I did not notice that at all. I should have looked at my phone. Aslan saw it first, and Aslan's behind me.
8 hours later, I would, we could have been like, so, like, how's the other guy look? And then he would be like, yeah, I have my glasses on, and something fell out of the cabinet and hit me in the face or something, But otherwise, like, okay, let's say there's something insidious behind this, like somebody on the staff put their hands on him. Like, is he going to tell us that?
Well, here's the problem with not addressing it. And after I saw it, and then I saw some stuff on the message boards, I did go to the Florida State Sports Information Director and say, hey, did he get punched? And he laughed and was like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, just so you know, and I didn't say it all that seriously, but I'm like, just so you know, people are already wondering about it on the message board. It might be nice to get ahead of it, but it is what it is. I'm sure he'll be asked about. Well, I'll definitely ask him about it on Saturday. We don't get him for the next 2 days, which is a bummer. But yeah, like that's he knew he was going to be talking to the media. And I remember this happened. I want to say it happened around 2011 with Jimbo, where he showed up to a practice one day with a black eye and some scratch marks around his eye. And he said that he was turkey hunting with his kid and fell into a tree, which, I mean, Jimbo does turkey hunt. He does have kids, and there are trees. So that could have been the plausible explanation.
Jack L. Funny. We'll go to Garrett PCL. What's going on with the running back rotation? Corey Sawchuk seems like the number one running back to me. Garrett, Keziah, Jalen have performed when they get the ball. I like Cromwell, but I feel like the running back situation is confusing.
Yeah, I just think It's fair. I don't think they have a guy that they love. And also, remember, Roydell hasn't even been a part of it. Like, what if Roydell had been healthy this whole time? What would this thing look like? I think Cromall is the guy they want to be the guy, but he's not there yet, and he just had a horrible fumble. He also, let's be honest, man, that screen pass, that wide open screen pass he catches on the first drive of the game, that's the absolute least amount of yards any running back in Division I would have gotten on that play. Now he slipped, but that's the absolute like he nobody even touched him. And he tried to cut back, but he slipped. So he might have gone another 25 yards. He might have scored. Maybe Jalen Lucas does score. But he's been good catching the football. So I'm not trying to dismiss Cromall's contributions, but I just don't think they have a guy they love right now. I just don't think they have a guy that they think has got to be our bell cow. And yes, it is confusing. So I think Sawchuk is their best guy. I think he's the most dependable guy. He's got, I don't know what he's got, 7 touchdowns. He leads them in rushing. Maybe give him more carries because they're clearly not going to give Keziah and Jalen Lucas the ball. So I don't know. It's a fair question. I don't know what's going on. I know Gus from his history would rather have one guy that could be the guy. I just don't think he thinks his room is that right now.
Yeah. Saw Chuck averaging 5.3 yards per carries. Got 7 more yards than Tommy. And yeah, 7 touchdowns. It's crazy. He's ran along a 42, 6 touchdowns. I'm sorry. 6.
He's got I think he's got a receiving touchdown too.
Such a well-rounded lad, that Gavin Sawchuk. 6 for 85, and yeah, a touchdown indeed. All right, these questions coming in. Corey, both of the same bent, if you will. Dominique Saint Laurent. Go Noles.
Well done.
Is this a must-win Saturday? Thank you for all you do at warchant.com. Brandon, what is the percentage of chances that Mike's chair is hot if they lose to Pittsburgh? #wake up.
Well, to answer Brandon's question, 100. If they lose to Pitt, he is squarely on the hot seat. Not that he would be fired on Sunday after a loss to Pitt, but man, you're going down a really bad, dangerous path there. After what happened last year, you'd have lost, 3 in a row. You'd have played 4 real teams and gone 1-3. After last year playing 11 real teams and going 1-10. So that's not a good look. So 2-13 in your last 15 FBS games. Yikes. I guess Kent State counts. I'm sorry, Golden Flashes. That's on me. But yeah, I think that it's as close to a must-win. Because I just think
World War II almost.
Yeah, right. I think that I just think that what it would do to the season if they lost is scary to think about. And there's no reason for them to lose, and they shouldn't lose. And I'm not expecting them to lose. But Pitt is a capable team. They've got guys that will play in the NFL. That defense is hard to prepare for. And if you play sloppy against that defense, they will turn you over 5 times. Not just 2 or 3, but 5 times. And maybe this quarterback is the truth. And they are getting their best playmaker back probably, who they didn't even need to put up 48. This is a dangerous team. It is a bowl team. And you're playing, on a losing streak that you absolutely have to snap. So yes, it's a very, very, very important win for Mike Norvell. Florida State football will go on, man. Like, it'll be fine, whether it's this guy or the next guy. I shouldn't say fine, but there are ways that Florida State football is very good and very relevant in 2026 and 27, 28 without Mike Norvell at the helm. I 100% believe that. I bring up Indiana. I'll bring up Arizona State. The Florida State is not – this is not where Florida State will stay. This is not where they belong. And I guess I'm talking more about last year than this year because this year they're still ranked. They can be a perennial top 10 team again. Mike Norvell might be the guy to get them there. And this is the reset in this season that they needed. But he absolutely has to win this game or he's in real trouble, I think. And I'm not going to be calling for his job. Not that it matters that I would anyway. Nobody listens to me. But it's just that if you're 3-3 after 6 games and you still got Death Valley, the Swamp, and NC State on the road, you were staring square in the face of a 6-6 season, and that might not be good enough.
I have not been able to listen to Seminole headlines yet, but judging by some of the comments, I feel like you guys maybe touched a little bit on this crazy contract and the buyout and everything. And I don't know if we need to like go back and do the whole timeline of events, Corey, but like, I don't like Florida State, the university, man. Okay. Like the athletic program, not Mike Norvell. I know he's the leader of the football team and that's the strongest, most visible program on the campus. So when we say that, sometimes we think we mean him, but I'm talking about like Florida State isn't such an extremely difficult position because coming off what 2023 was and then having Alabama flirt with your head coach, you know, part of me was thinking to myself the other day, Corey, like, don't sign a contract, don't tender a contract unless you are willing to eat it if something goes unaccording to plan. But I just don't think Florida State was in a position to offer like a lean contract. You know, they had to, and there's no way you could have in a million years, seen this coming. And then that's if they lose the Pitt and things go sideways. To Corey's point, Ira said it too. Listen, they can, snap off 3 reasonable wins here the next 3 games or 6-2 going against Clemson, and who knows what happens from there. But it just, I don't know what people expect. Like, yeah, the seat's going to be hot, but like, what does that even mean? They can't fire him. They can't fire him the Sunday after the Pitt game. They can't fire him 7 months after the Pitt game. I don't think there's any way they have the liquidity or whatever kind of verb we need to use to be able to move on from a coach they don't feel confident with. They're just going to have to keep dumping money at least for one more year into trying to chase something, it feels like.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, I agree with you. I don't necessarily think that 6-6 gets him fired. It's certainly on the table, and I could understand either way. But I think in hindsight, none of these guys deserve $10 or $11 million anymore. Like that, you're asking. It's the roster that matters. Stupid. Look, Bill Belichick is one of the greatest football coaches that ever lived. His program is a train wreck because they're giving him all the money, and I don't think they paid for a lot of really good football players. Who'd they get their quarterback from? South Alabama?
What about Texas, though? I mean, Texas apparently
that's one season, though. Texas was in the semis last year. But you're saying they pay him a lot of money?
Well, no, they pay that roster a lot of money. I don't think it's lazy, but I don't like this continual, like the Norvell Defense Fund that's going on, like the message boards. It always comes back to like the NIL, like he's not a bad recruiter. He just doesn't have enough money. It's like, well, man, like having a bunch of money doesn't guarantee you success. And I don't think, man, I would be shocked if Indiana spends more money on their roster than Florida State does.
There's no chance they do. There's no chance they do.
And I know, listen, it's Indiana. It's only been 1.5 seasons. They've been all right, but it's somewhat relevant to bring up in this context.
Well, I just think that the conversation would be had is, okay, do you pay him $50 million to go away? And look, you can prorate it out. You don't have to pay it all at one lump sum. But does it make more sense financially to do that, or to take that money you would pay him and instead of paying him $6 million in 2026 to not coach your team, or $10 million or whatever you owe him per year, put that in put that in the roster, because he's not a dumb human being. And he can coach good football players and do well with them. We've seen it. So, yes, that's why this is such a rare – like, look, man, I think if it was a different era and he didn't have that huge contract, he would have been fired after 2-10. He wasn't. They gave him assistant coaches. They gave him what I think is a good roster. And they've also only lost 2 games. They have not fallen off a cliff. It's in everyone's best interest for them to have a good season this year, and then build upon that and maybe have a great season next year or the year after that. You absolutely do not want to be where Florida is and having to fire a head coach, which they might here this season unless they go on another run. You know what I mean? Like, it's just you want some stability, and you don't want to pay a lot of money for a guy to go away. I think my issue again with that contract is, number one, I do think Alabama wanted him. I think it might have been oversold, which is what agents do to get more money. But also in hindsight, it makes absolutely no sense to pay a head coach that kind of money. Like, it's just backwards, man. Like, who gets paid more, Patrick Mahomes or Andy Reid?
Yeah.
Like, Patrick, it's backwards. Like, the players are more important than the head coach. That's what it is now. Getting a good roster is more important than having a good head coach.
Yeah, you listened to the Russillo podcast, I think, the other week. He was talking about, like, imagine if you had to draft players and coaches. Like, how many players would have to go off the board before you would draft a coach?
Right. And who would that person even be? Who's the best coach in the NFL?
Sean McVay is who I think they both kind of settled on.
And I think there might be 80 players I would draft. You know what I mean? Like, it's been so backwards for so long where the coaches got all the money and they got obviously they got their money because they could recruit and develop good players, but the players are the ones that won the game. And now it gets kind of flipped back a little bit where all these universities will realize we don't need to give this guy, we don't need to guarantee him $65 million. We don't need to do that. We need to guarantee whoever the coach is at Florida State University or Podunk University that he's going to have a really good roster. And so that's why I think that mistake is just paying like 2018 money for an elite head coach when it's not 2018 and the world has shifted a little bit. But it doesn't matter because they're not losing Saturday and they're not going to lose again this year.
All right. You heard it. Ask Corey if he stands by his sentiment face to face when you come hang out on Friday at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill during the meet and greet, which will start around 5 p.m. Have some delicious food, including the Corey wrap. It is a real thing. It is on the menu. Fresh chicken breast, grilled because Corey's body's a temple. Piled high, though, with hickory smoked bacon because he's a reasonable man. And sharp cheddar cheese served inside a tortilla wrap with lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles, and CP's Chipotle mayo. It's the Corey wrap. You can only get it at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. You can only shake hands in public with Corey Clark at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on a Friday at the meet and greet. So come on out, cptallybar.com, the website, 2475 Appalachia Park.
And don't forget, there's bingo Thursday night. So if you're listening to the podcast tomorrow night, if you're watching the live show, no, you know what I mean. Thursday night, everyone, there's bingo. So you can win. How much can you win, Aslan?
$1,000 theoretically, but most likely $250. There's 4 rounds, $250 up for grabs in each single round.
Well, let's be honest. Most likely 0. But if you do win one of the rounds, you win $250, and there are 4 rounds.
There we go. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Brett Taylor. I don't think he's going to like my answer. What is more likely? Florida State wins 45-7 or they lose? He thinks 40. I think they losing is more. I think Florida State. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. I'm with you.
Yeah, I get it, man. I don't want to play into the narrative, Corey, but I think the more weeks we get away from August 30th, the more it'll be just that was a magical day, man. Like, in everything, not everything, but like most things that you needed to go your way kind of went your way. You deserve credit for making the breaks go your way. I think being force-fed a diet of crap sandwiches for 8 months telling you how bad you guys are and you've got no chance, I think that obviously motivated this team. And being able to come out the gates, surprise guerrilla attack an Alabama team that probably felt too good about themselves. They just, but again, you had to go out there and execute the plays, and they did it in dominating fashion. But I don't know if that kind of thing is in the cards the rest of the way out here, especially against a Pitt team that's going to be pretty aggressive on defense.
But they did do it with these players. It's not like, it wasn't like you were asking Army's players to go out and hold Alabama to 17 points or East Texas A&M. Like, you have players that can play with the best players in the country. We've seen that. I think we saw it in the fourth quarter. I don't think Miami I know they won the game, and I know they probably play defense a little different when they're up by that much, but it was still the same players. And you kind of caught fire a little bit, and you were hard to deal with. Tommy's hard to deal with when he's playing well. Deuce is very hard to deal with. That is an incredible catch by Danzy on not a great throw. I don't even know if you remember. It kind of gets lost in the shuffle because they lost. He's kind of run into the sideline and comes back and makes a great hands catch. Like, there are things to build on, and there is. It wasn't a miracle, and it wasn't like everything had to go right for you to win that game. Aslan is right that Alabama probably took you a little too lightly, but they could take a lot of teams too lightly and still win comfortably. Florida State had the means to do something about it. I do think they have the means to go on a run. I truly do. And I think to counter what Aslan just said, although I'm not saying I disagree, there is also a chance that we'll be looking back at the Miami game in December and saying that was the anomaly. Those first 3 quarters were the anomaly. I know the likelihood is more of what you said, but you could see a world where they're about to rip off, 3 wins in a row and go into Clemson. And then if you win at Clemson, that becomes like a defining game and you've had a good season and have a chance to have a great season. Like it's all still out there. It's all still out there. You just have to play better.
Oh man, I don't want to go too much into this. The 6-6 hots. I mean, again, I know I've said Lane Kiffin's name a lot. There's no coach out there, to your point earlier, Corey, about, paying whoever's worth what they're worth. I just think, like, if you got a guy like Lane Kiffin, you're always going to have like a fun product. You're going to have a competitive team. And in this conference, that probably means you'll be, in the mix every November for a playoff spot if it were to stay in this kind of routine. But I don't know if he leaves Oxford, man. And I don't know how comfortable I would feel to give him $85 million to lure him away from Oxford, man. I know right. That's another thing too. There is no slam dunk, obvious candidate. I mean, I don't know, like if Dion was 6-0 right now or something, maybe that is a slam dunk, but he's not.
Yes, he's not. He's 2-4. And yeah. I think he had surgery on Wednesday, so hoping everything went well there to remove some blood clots. I think they said it was his 16th surgery in 3 years, which is incredible. So hopefully he's doing okay and is on the mend. And I think he's supposed to coach this weekend, or at least he was going to be at practice tomorrow. But yeah, I would say this, man. Again, what bothers me so much about this sport right now is I'm a Falcons fan. If the Falcons go 7-10, they're going to fire Raheem Morris. It is not on me as a Falcons fan to also supply – excuse me. Sorry, everyone. I hope if you're listening to the podcast, you backed away. It's not on a Falcons fan to have to pay Raheem Morris's buyout, pay for the new head coach, and then also pay for the roster. Like, again, you go fire Norvell, great, and you want to go hire Signetti. Well, that's now you're spending $17 million a year on your head coach. 10 for the guy that went away, and 7 or 8 for the guy you're bringing in. If you want Kiffin, you're spending $22 million a year on your head coach for the next 4 or 5 years. It's kind of like the Norvell contract is a little bit like an albatross in that way. Now, there could get to a point where it's untenable. You can't, the program has stalled to a point where it's just lost all, people are losing interest and there's apathy, and you've got to make a splash because you want to get into a new conference. There's a lot of things that are at play where you want to be attractive and appealing and be relevant. And if you're afraid he's just a straight up 6-6 coach, that's not what you need. But, what do you have to get for Kiffin? And definitely not Ed Orgeron or Jimbo, really, for that matter. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much. You have to spend money on a guy not to coach. You have to spend money on a guy to coach. And then, oh, by the way, we also need that $20 million for the roster.
Corey Bates in the house, everybody. Mr. Clay County, give it up. $50 in the jar. Corey out there doing it.
Thank you,
Mike
Corey.
And Gus been throwing jabs over who's calling plays, question mark?
Yeah, really.
Earl Little has been a ghost these last 2 games.
He does have 20 tackles in the last 2 games. He led the team in tackling in Virginia, and he led them in tackles against Miami. I'm not disagreeing with you that he has not played. He's certainly against Miami. He did not play well. We can all say that. I thought he was fine against Virginia. I thought he was the only one that tried to come up and hit people, honestly. He just happened to hit one guy backwards into a pile who then bounced off and scored. Yes, but, if he wants to be one of the best defensive players in the country, he needs to play better than he did against Miami. But he still leads them in tackles. I think, Aslan, can you look that up? Yeah, he had a horrible grade against Miami.
I mean, who would lead the team in tackles if it's not him? But I'll confirm it. Yeah, I mean, just some of that data up on the screen, Corey, if you want to talk about that while I look this up from PFF.
I see 2 greens. He had 2 greens against Alabama and East Texas, then 2 yellows, and then a red against Miami. He was not good against Miami. He bid on that play at the flea flicker, which is a good play. So I get at least he's triggering. They took advantage of his aggressiveness, but at least he's triggering, not standing there. He just made a mistake, and then Edwin Joseph couldn't cover Malachi Toney because there aren't many people on planet Earth that could cover that guy in a one-on-one situation.
He's leading the team in tackles by 10, 35. Next closest is Jabril Rawls at 25.
Which isn't great that you have two DBs that lead you in tackles, but I will say I think that's kind of part of the defense. Especially when you don't have sensational linebackers. I do think Earl Little and Jabril Rawls can play in the NFL. I'm not sure any of the linebackers can. But maybe Nicholson is a guy that is starting to find himself. We talked to him this week. He did have a sack in the Miami game. He had 6 tackles. He's been noticeable. He's made some impact plays. He made a couple impact plays against Alabama. So maybe he's becoming a guy that can actually be a guy.
How much of this, though, Corey, not to sidetrack because I don't want to ask you questions on my mind. We want to ask questions that are on the people's minds out here. But just you talked about it's kind of part of the defense, Earl being aggressive. As a fan, you look at this thing on the outside leading up to the season. You're just hoping for the best for everything, right? Like Tommy with better talent around him. These other guys with a guy like Herb Hand leading them, Deuce reinvigorated, like all these things, right? Like you're hoping for the absolute best and you're getting the best from Deuce Robinson, but we also I felt had this silent, tacit agreement that we would live with this defense getting burnt every now and then, as long as they made physical, had takeaways, played physical, played with an edge. And they're doing that, but then they're also getting beat. I don't know how many teams out there other than 2022 Georgia can play like a bunch of freaking relentless rabid dogs and never get burnt. Tommy, him turning the ball over, clearly not ideal, but this is kind of like what he was, what he is. And you can change and adapt and evolve to a certain degree, but ultimately, like foundationally, you are who you are and your system is what it is. And, it's just been outweighed by the bad stuff versus the good stuff over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's why I think this is such a telling game, man. It's such a big game. Because I think you'll be at the halfway point. Sorry, everyone. I don't know what's going on in my throat that I have to keep having to clear it. But you're going to be at the halfway point. That's not a small sample size. You'll have played 4 Division I games, so there's more data points. And look, I think there's a chance the defense is just pretty good or okay. I think there is a world that, in fact, I think that's probable. It's got to be an opportunistic defense that takes advantage of mistakes, that creates mistakes and turnovers, and it hasn't done that much. But the offense has really had one bad half all season. It had a bad start against Virginia, but it still had 21 points at the half, and then it couldn't get the ball in the second half against Virginia. It had 3 possessions, I think, and one of them was a dumb 4th down play at the 4th and 1. So the offense has been good all season, I say, for the first half against Miami. The defense is, I think you're just going to have to win games expecting to have to score in the 30s. And there's no reason to think this offense won't do it unless it starts spiraling because of lack of confidence. Tommy starts feeling like, or keeps feeling like he has to do too much. But that's why I think what if he comes out this game and he looks like the Tommy from Alabama? No forced throws, really good runner, makes good decisions. They run for over 200 yards. He throws for 200 yards. Deuce has a couple touchdowns, no turnovers, and they win 38-20. All of a sudden, okay, man, is that Florida State? Because I think there's a real possibility that happens. That it was a Friday night on the road, and then it's the next week against the best team you'll play, probably. It doesn't mean that's who you are. But now, if you turn the ball over again against Pitt, and if you're giving up huge plays against Pitt and not creating turnovers against a true freshman quarterback making his first road start, then that's really problematic moving forward.
We're only going to spend 1 minute on this, Corey. Set the timer after I'm done reading it. If Alabama and Miami run the table and Virginia is a top 25 team, Does a 10-2 FSU make the playoff? 1 minute.
You don't have to be 1 minute. Yes, because if Bama and Miami both run the table, they are number 1 and number 2 in the country. You'll have beaten the number 2 team in the country. The number 1 team in the country you lost to by 6 points on the road, at home. And a top 25. Your other loss was a double overtime loss to a top 25 team. Yes, you'll make it. You're going to be on the road in the first round. They're not going to give you a home game. You'll have to go play at Ohio State, or no. I don't remember how it works. You'd have to go play at Georgia. But I definitely think if that happens, you would have beaten 11-1 Alabama. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think you'd have a great resume. I think you'd be top 10. Maybe you would host a playoff game. Sorry. I hope that was less than a minute.
49 seconds. Good job. Kevin Witherspoon. Hey, guys, heading to Tallahassee for the first time this season. How are you liking the stadium upgrades, and what should I expect? Are the concession lines better, and what's the Warchant schedule this weekend?
Kevin, I hope people in the comments will respond to you because I have no idea. Aslan's not even at the games until the third quarter because he watches them and then comes and sets up for the post-game press conference. I'm in the press box. I'll be honest with you, I haven't been to a concession line at Doak Campbell Stadium since 2006, before I got the job at the Democrat. So I don't know. I've heard great things about the upgrades, though. Nothing but compliments, nothing but praise. So I think you are going to enjoy it. It probably won't be all that crowded like it was last week for a noon game against Pitt. So I think you'll be, unless it's really hot, then people might be down in the concourse getting concessions more than they were for a night game. But yeah, I think you'll like the stadium upgrades a lot. And then Aslan, you can tell them what our schedule is.
The meet and greet going down Friday, 5-ish p.m., Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Saturday, pregame show with Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang. That'll be at 9 a.m. They'll be doing the meet and greet at Hotel Indigo at 10 a.m. And then the postgame show 10 to 15 minutes after the conclusion of the game, which is repetitive after conclusion. And then obviously the Warchant wrap presented by Vitamin Energy. 2 hours after the game goes final, probably.
So around 5:30, 6 o'clock, right before your probably at halftime of the Texas-Oklahoma game.
Mac. $5 in the jar from Mac.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Can we hire Jimbo to be head of talent recruitment and roster construction, possibly get Norvell to renegotiate his contract, transfer to general manager head coach?
Mac, I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for the kind
tip.
There's no world Jimbo's gonna join a college football program and not be the head coach. And again, I just want to reiterate, I know it's not fun to lose to Miami. He was not good at Texas A&M, and he recruited his ass off there. He so much so that Saban had to get out of the game. He couldn't recruit with Jimbo. He just beat Jimbo, or his teams were better, I guess. But Jimbo was not good at Texas A&M, and his offenses were a disaster. You don't want that here. What you would love, yes, is for him to just be the guy that says, yeah, take him. I don't think he's willing to do that. It'd be cool if he was, but imagine him on a coaching staff where he's not in charge. That has not been the case since really 2009-ish, 2008-ish, and I just don't think he would be good at that. It's hard to tell a guy with $200 million what to do. So, and like I said earlier in the week, if he would agree to be a head coach and do all the things that Jimbo's great at, making teams tough, identifying linemen, defensive linemen, I should say, getting really good players to come play for him and not touch the offense at all, I'm all for it. But his offenses were awful. From 17 to 23, I guess he was fired in 23 or 22, those 6 or 7 seasons, those offenses with good players, Cam Akers, Auden Tate, Ryan Izzo, on and on, and then obviously all the guys he had at A&M, they were nothing. They were no better than pedestrian, and usually they were awful. And you just don't need that. You need a guy that that has a modern offense, which is crazy because Gus is older than Jimbo, but Jimbo's offenses aren't as good as Gus's offense. So maybe you could not keep Gus as his OC.
I think Braden McGill tried to put this in the mailbag, which we would have gotten to on tomorrow's program, but he's also here active on the YouTube side of things. Has Tony White fallen out of head coaching talk around the country after the past 2 games?
Well, it was really just the UCLA talk, right? Because that's his alma mater, and they have an opening. I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know how serious it was 2 weeks ago, and I don't know that they care all that much about these 2 games. Now, if his defense finishes 68th in the country or falls off a cliff, then, yeah, that's a tough sell, especially for a guy that's never been a head coach before. So I would say I wouldn't say these 2 games matter. I think the next 2 months matter, right? If his defense is pretty good after 2 months and they're one of the better defenses in the ACC and this program has had a good, nice season, then yes, I think his name is going to be mentioned. I don't know if it's going to be a Big Ten job, but his name will be mentioned.
Brandon's back. Is Squirrel White okay? He's been very quiet the past few weeks. We need another receiver besides Deuce to be consistent.
I mean, he was out there. Tommy kept throwing to him with no success. And Squirrel White should have had a 75-yard touchdown if Tommy makes that throw. I think what did Mike say today? I thought he said that he was, or maybe he was asked on Monday, but he thinks that he was progressing towards being able to play, I think.
Yeah, I saw him. I think he's in green. I think we've heard that he's been in green. So it's Wednesday. They still have, another day of practice on Thursday and then a walkthrough Friday. So I don't know though, man. I don't. Is that what's is that why Tommy's turning the ball over? Like his first read's not open, so he's throwing junk up. I don't think that's the case. But I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have another weapon. But man, listen, they've got weapons. They've got Jalen Lucas. They've got Mekhi Danzy. They've got some pretty good running backs. They do have Deuce Robinson. They do have Randy Pittman. I just don't. I mean, I guess more is better, but that doesn't seem to be. I don't know. There's a list of 10 things that I'm complaining about right now from a Forest fan. Not that you are, fellow writer in.
But I think Squirrel got hurt, or at least he didn't come back in the game after that punt return where he was targeted, and then he got hurt against whoever that was, East Texas, I think, on a punt return. I think it's really hard to say that he has not played well as a receiver. I just think for whatever reason, every time he's open and Tommy throws him the ball, he misses him, and it happened against Virginia too. That's at least a 35-yard catch by Squirrel in that game, and Tommy sails it to the sideline. And then I'm telling you, that throw to start the second half against Miami, that square in, that in cut, is a 75-yard touchdown if he puts it on him, and he didn't. And then that's who he was throwing to with the horrible throw into the end zone. So there is they do need somebody besides Deuce, but I think they've proven they got some guys, including somebody you didn't mention, Aslan, which is LaWayne McCoy, who I thought that what happened in that Miami game in that fourth quarter might be very, very big for his progression because they like him a lot. We've liked him a lot since we saw him. It's just a matter of him staying healthy and staying healthy. He's got to be available. If he's available, I think he's as Norvell called him, a tier 1 receiver.
Make some tier 1 decisions over at Underdog Fantasy Sports and win money, like real American currency, everybody. We got some stuff, Corey. They got us hooked up over at Underdog Fantasy Sports.
Let's
Florida
go.
State, Pitt, Mason Heinschel.
Okay.
0.5 interceptions thrown. We got to hit the higher on that, right?
Yes, for heaven's sake.
Okay.
Shaheem, Ashland, I'm talking to you guys. Go make a play. Even a line. How about a defensive lineman tips a ball in the air? How about that happens and a linebacker picks it off and runs it back? That'd be fun.
Yeah. All right. What do you like about Tommy? Passing yards, rushing yards, passing touchdowns, rushing touchdowns.
What are they at? I can't read them. Okay,
218 passing yards, 63.5 rushing yards, 1.5 passing touchdowns.
I definitely think higher on the passing. Rushing concerns me because of the sacks.
Okay.
If they had the NFL rules and sacks didn't count towards your rushing yards, I would definitely say I'd be more inclined to the over. But honestly, I think the best play all week might be him in the under on the rushing yards. Number one, I don't think he's 100% healthy. And I also think he's going to get sacked a couple times because that's just what they want to do. And I'll say this, it's not the end of the world if he gets sacked. It's better than just throwing it to a safety. And I think that's been kind of hammered home to him is like, look, if they're on you and you can't get and you don't know where you're throwing it, let us punt it. It's okay. And so I think he's going to be more inclined to take a sack if somebody just comes free and not force a throw.
Okay.
And so those sacks will be, he might lose 20 yards in sack yardage, and that might put him under the under. So I think that's my lock of the week.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry.
What about Deuce? 65.5 receiving yards, higher or lower? We got like 15 seconds.
Higher.
Is there anybody else that you're interested in? Randy Pittman, 24.5 receiving yards, 15.5 longest reception.
Oh, higher on both those.
We can only go on one of them.
Then let's do 15.5. I think against a blitzing team, you're going to have a tight end that gets wide the F open and hit him in the middle of the field for like a 40 or 50-yard play.
10 American dollars. I'm going to win 64.70 because Corey Clark knows what the deal is. Download the Underdog Fantasy app today and sign up with promo code Warchant to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. Millions of folks have won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog Fantasy Sports. Make picks, win money. Here's a disclaimer, everybody. I apologize, but I have to do this. You got to be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 and up in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, and now New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. West Todd, 5 games in. Over under 8.5 wins. Under over here. I'm going under.
I think I'm going over. And it all's dictated by this Saturday, my man.
Clearly. Obviously.
It's all dictated by this Saturday. If you win this Saturday, I think you're going over. I think you're winning at Clemson or at NC State.
Yeah. Brett Taylor, let's talk about the Pitt offense this week. 18-year-old quarterback, limited playbook. Tony White should be able to dial up a great game plan. Pitt should not even smell 20 for the game.
Yeah, and I think something else that works in your favor, you hope, is that he was so good out of the gate against not a good team, and he might have a little too much confidence. Now, I always preach you want everybody to have worlds of confidence. There's nothing replacing that. But as a quarterback, you've only played one game against Boston College, and then you're thrown into this. You might trust yourself a little too much. You might not be properly careful with the football. You might think that you're better than you are, and that could lead to some really bad plays and hopefully some turnovers. So, yeah, I don't know about not smelling 20, but if they only get to 20, you should certainly win the game, you would think. And he might be ripe for a really come-down-to-earth game. I just think that's normal. You're right. He's 18. I don't know. He might be 19. Might be 21. Who knows what these kids' ages anymore? But he might have been held back, redshirted 3 times back in middle school. But I think, one start at home is a whole lot different than what he's going to see on Saturday. That doesn't mean he won't be able to handle it, but until you see it, you can't assume he's going to be awesome on the road in his first ever start as a true freshman quarterback. And who had only played Aslan crazily, he'd only thrown 4 passes the whole season before that. And when they bitched Holstein against
Louisville.
Well, no, but I thought they benched him against West Virginia for a while too, or maybe it was Louisville. They played another quarterback and not him.
Cole Gonzalez, Billy Gonzalez, former receivers coach with Urban at Florida, his son, Cole Gonzalez. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's odd.
Yeah. I'm listening. I'm very doomsday about this game. I'm probably going to pick Pitt when we do the Warchant report. I also do think, I don't know. I'm just angry. That's why I'm going to make the pick. I'm just angry at everything right now. But, I do wonder if everybody around him will kind of rally up just because he is a true freshman and they know the offensive line's gonna be like we got to protect this guy. We got to put it on our backs. The receivers are gonna be like, I've got to get open. I've got to make the plays. I feel like they brought a lot of weapons in Pitt, and then they kind of fell flat against West Virginia in the backyard brawl. They did not look good against Louisville because they turned the ball over. Then this kid comes in. You have a really good game against Boston College. I think that reinvigorates the locker room. I think like you're excited again, and like, I mean, like, all this stuff about wanting to play hard for Tommy. He's a great leader. There's a little bit of that, I think, when you see somebody that you kind of have to like take care of. Like, man, we got to step up so this guy will be okay. So I think that's how Pitt probably brings in here. But Brett might be right too, man. The kid could get overwhelmed and make some bad throws, and then it snowballs, and the Noles win 45-7, like he said earlier in the show. Ray Pereira, everybody. Let's go. Ray's here. Biloxi's own Ray Pereira. Give it up.
Ray in the house. What's up, Ray?
Pillar. I'm literally pointing. I got my cameras too twisted right now, but I got the pillar over here.
There it is.
His name's on it. I promise. Greetings, Aslan and Corey. I still believe in this team and Norvell. Still concerned about our core front four, so we will need to outscore everyone from here on out. Go Noles, FSU by 14.
Okay. That'd be nice. That'd be a nice win, nice dub for Mike Norvell and crew. Yeah, I think that's a fair concern. I'm not in love with the front seven as a whole, but I wasn't at the beginning of the season either. It's kind of the weakness of the team, I'd say. I did think kudos to them, man. We haven't commended it enough because they lost, and who cares? There's no moral victories, right? Just amoral victories. But the what they did to Miami in the running game was impressive, I thought. I mean, it was, right?
Yeah.
And that should give you confidence that Tony White's not just a dolt, man. Like, okay, Virginia ran on us for 200 yards. Miami's going to try to run it down our throat. We'll come up with a game plan with the exact same players and make sure they don't run it on us. And he did. The problem was Miami's well-coached too, and they've got guys out wide that can make plays, and they had an adjustment for your adjustment. But it's good to know he had some answers. And I do have faith that he will have some answers, or at least some, let's say theories on how you should handle a true freshman quarterback on the road. And I do think he will try to come up with some. He is not going to just sit there and play base vanilla stuff. He is going to try to force that kid into some mistakes. He's going to bring extra guys. He's going to bring them from different angles. And you just hope. I know Pitt's kind of banged up on the offensive line too, right, Aslan, a little bit?
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, man, I think he's good. I think he's good. I think they had a really bad 2.5 hours against Miami, the whole team. And I do think this is a good team. I still believe that this is a good team. Again, we'll see what I'm saying on the Warchant wrap at 4:30 on Bobby Bowden Field. But right now, I think this is a good team.
Panama Jack, we need to limit Tommy to around 20 passes a game. More passing puts him in trouble situations. But, to the point of Ray about they're going to have to outscore their opponents, I think he means obviously like high scoring efforts. Like you got to be in the mid 30s, high 30s to probably get to where you want to go the rest of the way out. And, my brother said going into the Miami game, like on Friday in the group text, he was like, he's like, if he ends up throwing the ball 30 or more times, I don't think that's the way we're going to beat Miami. And he dropped back 45 times. So, a
lot of that though, obviously was because of the game.
19 play drive too. Yeah. 19
well, but just the game, and he had to drop back more than that, right? Like, did he throw 45 passes in that game?
45 pass attempts.
So he probably dropped back 60.
Let's do the cumes. So first half, he was 9 of 15.
Yeah.
So,
but how many? But I mean, so many of those were scramble. He had scrambles too. So I bet they called like 55 or 58 pass plays. Clearly, the score of the game dictated them doing that. That is not what they want to do. I do think 20 to 25 is about the limit to what you want to do. I don't think Alabama is something you can replicate a lot, though. Like, they threw 14 passes. I think it was 9 of 14 or 10 of 15. That's not something that I think will be replicated. They are going to make him have to make throws and make plays. All these teams will do it. He can do it. But, yes, it is not going to be air raid Mahomes at Texas Tech, 65 attempts. I think 20 to 30 is the sweet spot.
Shout out to our guy, Eddie Booza, the soundtrack of the softball team, if you will.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Thank you, Eddie. He says we should have done the meet and greet at Joanne Graff this week.
One of these days we will. One of these days, but that would be awesome. That's a fun. It's a good complex over there. A lot of good teams. Speaking of not softball, the soccer team has a really big game either tonight or tomorrow night. I should know that. They're on the road at Notre Dame. It's a top 5 matchup. Notre Dame's number 2 in the country. Your Florida State Seminoles are number 5. I don't know if that's tonight or tomorrow, but either way, if you're a soccer fan, you know.
It's tomorrow. It's
Okay.
tomorrow.
I know that. I was just keeping you honest, Aslan. Of course I know. Playing at Smithfield in South Bend. Probably Smithfield. I'm going to go ahead and guess it's Smithfield. So those are very good programs over there, and hopefully the soccer team can catch a little fire.
Close. If it's not Smith, it was going to be Alumni Soccer Stadium. It was Alumni.
How boring is that? Good grief.
As boring as Smith.
Yeah.
All right, last one on the way out. We got a hard out. Quantrell knows, Corey or Aslan, when Jeff said, "God dog, Mike," when referring to Mike's ACC record over the last 12 games, I felt that in my core. Did you as well? That's part of his Monday Open. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 p.m.
I did not listen to it. I agree with the sentiment. But as Ira points out, and it's true, like even if he'd won these last 2 games, what would his record be in the ACC over the last 12? It's gross. It was always going to be gross. What he's doing is compounding the grossness of last year by starting out this thing 0-2. That's why he does not need to start out 0-3, and he will not start out 0-3. But yes, it is gross to look at. But for the next 3 years, they could be 6-2 in the ACC for the next 3 years. So that's 18-6. That still means he's 19-13 in his last 32 ACC games. That's not great at Florida State. Like that 2024 season is going to be an anchor on him for a while, which is why you don't go 2-10, Mike. It's why you don't go 2-10, big dog, because they can be, that stuff can be tied to you. But it could be a little misleading at the end of this year. If they go 6-2 or 5-3 in the ACC this year, follow that up next year with a 7-1. All of a sudden, you're cooking with gas, Aslan. You feel good about things. You feel good about things. And it starts on Saturday afternoon against Pitt. And what's my man's name? The quarterback, Henschel?
Mason Henschel.
Come and get some, Henschel.
Yeah.
Come and get some. Actually, don't. You need a meltdown, please. For all of us, just have a bad game. Nobody cares, man. Mason, I'm not trying to be rude. Nobody cares about Pitt football. It's not 1977. Tony Dorsett didn't just win the Heisman. Like, come on, man. Let Florida State fans feel good. You don't need this win. You beat Boston College. Let Florida State have some fun. Throw the ball to a Florida State player 3 times. Please, that's all I want, just 3. They're going to catch 2 of them. I promise. Please, Mason.
Mike Norvell, 2 games below 500 in conference play. Elijah Drinkowitz, 3 games over 500 in conference play. Lane Kiffin, 12 games over 500 in conference play. They all were part of that vaunted 2019 hiring cycle, 2020 COVID year 0 class.
Hey, how many of them won 19 in a row, Aslan? Just the one guy. But hey, if you take away that 19-game winning streak, boy. But you can't do it. That's who was the FSU defender on Saturday night? It's like, well, if you take away their explosives, Miami's explosives, they didn't do much. He didn't say it quite like that, but that's what he meant. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's not how it works, buddy. They counted. Those yards that Malachi Tony got counted.
All right, we're done here. Appreciate everybody for joining us. Shout out to our guy Andrew in the back.
Sorry for all the throat clearing, everyone. I don't know what's going on. I'm allergic to my new house, I guess.
Thanks to Corey Bates. Thanks to Mac, Eddie Booza, Ray Pereira, and everybody else for offering their questions up. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Jeff Cameron Show on Thursday, 1 to 4 p.m. We'll have Warchant Report out there in the coming days. Go check out the 3-2-1 by Irish O'Fell over at warchant.com, as well as Corey's latest stories.
Does this shirt make me look fat? It's too big, I think.
Yeah.
And plus the way I'm sitting, it makes me look fat.
Yeah, it's not very flattering.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go get one of my really tight shirts that one guy hates for the Warchant Report.
Okay. I hope that's not one of our sponsor shirts that you're
wearing.
wearing.
No. It's something I've had for 10 years back when I was fat.
I'll be rocking that poncho tonight, man. I like this stuff.
Amen, brother.
Crisp.
Amen.
All right, we're done. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Go check out warchant.com.